one of the things that my grandfather taught me, my dad taught me, and I'm trying to teach my boys, you're afraid to fail, then you're just never going to get anywhere. That my grandfather failed 9 times out of 10. He had the tenacious ability just to never give up and just always keep trying, because that one opportunity is going to hit. So you take the opportunity, and all these opportunities that fail end up costing you money. It doesn't really matter. You just keep taking the opportunities, take what's given to you, learn from the mistakes, because you're going to fail 9 times out of 10 before you ever get anything to succeed. Learn from those mistakes and carry it to the next opportunity, and just keep going and just keep growing and just keep building on top of it.
The Converse Cowboy Journey has given me an opportunity to sit down with some amazing performers from all walks of life, where it is my job to tease out their habits and routines so that you can apply and test in your own life. I've learned, I've grown personally, I've been enlightened, and I've been humbled. Above all, I've realized there is no destination in this life, no goal achieved, or money made that can replace the feeling of flow and the pursuit of doing what you truly love to do. With a growth mindset, I'm constantly asking questions and pursuing knowledge. The Converse Cowboy is a platform that allows me to do just that. I'm excited and eager to share their stories with you all. I'm Mike Roberts, and this is the Converse Cowboy.
This episode is brought to you by Kimes Ranch and Kerry Kelley Bits and Spurs.
Eddie Priefert, it's a pleasure, man. We're here in Mount Pleasant, Texas at the Priefert roping. You'll do this every year.
Yes, every year. We've done it for, what is it, 4 years now, Sarah? I think that's right, 4 years now.
Right
So
on.
we do this every year and host it. It just gets bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
So last year we didn't have the weather that we wanted. We got a lot of rain. I think we had 7 inches in 7 days last year.
No kidding.
So it rained every day, and those couple of days we had a full river running through the arena and still roping.
Right on.
And yeah, we didn't stop until it started lightning.
Which it seems like there's a little bit of that this year. Like you'll got some rain, but the arena seems to be taking it well.
The arena takes it real well. And now we've had a little bit of rain. A little bit of rain's great for the arena. We don't have to run the water truck. So but a little bit's fine. And then these arenas take it so well. But the rest of the week, when we get these World Series started, it looks like the weather is absolutely clear. 80 degrees every day, and a little bit overcast. So it should be just perfect for outdoor roping.
Well, I was wondering as I was coming over here, and doing this research for this interview, it was fascinating. Y'all have 30 acres under roof.
Yeah, well, I think it's more than that now. I think it's 35 to
35.
Yeah, 35 to almost 40. We're
But
pushing 40.
It made me wonder why we don't have an indoor arena.
Yes, well, because I'm cheap. Yes, I can spend a lot of money on a lot of other things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that make money.
That make money.
Yeah.
It's hard to bring myself out there to.
I understand.
To build an arena. But yes, I get a lot of pressure and peer pressure from a lot of my buddies that would really like to have an indoor arena. They all want one, so and want me to put it in. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like that friend with a boat.
yeah, with a boat and an airplane.
Yeah, I'd let them take care of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I want to dig into a number of things. Sitting down with Eddie Priefert, president and owner of Priefert Manufacturing, and man, there's so many things that I didn't realize. You see the brand Priefert, you see the blue chutes, you see the yellow chutes at the NFR.
Absolutely.
But I had no idea that was just a third of y'all's business.
Yeah. Well, 1/3 of our business is ranch equipment, and that used to be our primary, just all of our primary. Which my grandfather started in the '60s, and we started with the ranch equipment, and then I'm going to say 2008, 2009, the economy kind of went backwards. You had a lot of the real estate crash, everything else, and we were 600 employees back in 2008, 2009, and we went from 600 employees to 300 employees overnight.
No kidding.
Everybody just stopped buying. And at that point, we have all this extra capacity on some mills and some different blanking lines and some different processes in the plant. And we just started asking our neighbors, Big Tex trailers and CM truck beds and Diamond C trailers and Parker trailers and all the manufacturers right here in the area, hey, I bet you could use a little bit of steel. Why don't you just use some of the stuff that we're doing? Because we're short. We have a lot of capacity right now. And we just started doing it and processing steel. And that we just started learning that industry and learning that side of it, and we just keep growing it. And from 2008 till now it's 2/3 of the overall business.
Yeah.
So we just grown it, and it's been really good for us.
Right on. That's
Yep.
fascinating.
Yep.
Man, I want to get into the evolution of the Priefert business, right? And I'm reading a book right now. What is it called? it's something like greatness cannot be planned, and it just talks about the stepping stones that you must go through to get to certain stages, and like
Okay.
you may not have been able to see the steel sales in
No.
1991, but you do everything that y'all have done that led up to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How is
You
it like?
can't. Yeah. Well, and I'll let you finish your question, but
I'm
I've
curious
got-
to hear
I've
where
got-
you were about to go. with it.
Well, I mean, there is no real answer, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily planned. When you're out there and you see and God puts opportunities in front of you, and if you just don't, I mean, a lot of people just sit back on their heels and just of that opportunity, and we just always looked at it and said everything is an opportunity. Anytime there's an opportunity, you got to try it. Not everything's success. One of the things that my grandfather taught me, my dad taught me, and I'm trying to teach my boys and everything else is, I mean, if you're afraid to fail, then you're just never going to get anywhere. That my grandfather failed 9 times out of 10, but he just never had the tenacious ability just to never give up and just always keep trying, because that one opportunity is going to hit. So you take the opportunity, and all these opportunities that fail end up costing you money, but it doesn't really matter. You just keep taking the opportunities, take what's given to you, learn from the mistakes, because you're going to fail 9 times out of 10 before you ever get anything to succeed. Learn from those mistakes and carry it to the next opportunity, and just keep going and just keep growing and just keep building on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but nothing is necessarily planned. It's just, hey, there's an opportunity. Let's go see what we can do with that.
Yeah.
And just not be scared that you just know it's a strong possibility you're going to fail, but just do everything that you can to do right by everyone around you at all times, and be honest, forthright, and everybody else with everyone else first instead of yourself. And usually you have a full team around you and surround yourself, and it's hard to fail when you got a lot of people helping you and working.
There seems to be a consistent theme with folks that I sit down with that are very successful. And I want to know, so as a business owner myself, I'm curious to know from you, again, with 1,000 employees, that just blows my mind. I'm going to set this up, and then I'm going to circle back to another question of what you just brought your grandfather up. How the question I'm going to get to is, how do you know when it's time to level up? How do you know when it's time to hire more employees? How do you know when it's time to add on to your buildings and your warehouses?
Basically, you try to see far enough, you like with us, where you're always looking at capacities, right? So like right now, you just got to be a little bit of a high stakes gambler in some ways, and just say, you know what, the opportunities are going to come, but you can't capitalize on the opportunities till you have the capacity. So you look out into the future, you see what's going on, have a pretty good feeling, but you know that it's a possibility it's not going to work. But at the same time, you have enough faith in yourself and the team around you to know, you know what, if I go invest this money to build more capacities, build the infrastructure, get all those things, we will sell it.
Right.
So you can't capitalize on an opportunity until you have the capacities, especially in our deal. So like right now, we're building capacities right now. We're building new rail spurs that gets us 30 cars a day. Right now we're doing 10 cars a day. We're getting a rail spur that'll get us 30 cars a day, and building a new building that actually processes that steel and goes into two tube mills. And then I'm also putting a new powder line. Haven't sold any of that yet. I just know that we can. And have a strong idea that, you know what, the team I've got around me, they're so good, I might as well invest in it now, because in the next 10 years I could sell it.
Yeah.
So you invest in it.
So you're speaking today in 2025 with a man of confidence who has done this time and time again. But take me back to the beginning, when that first, like, I don't know, it was like the mid 90s, right? Like when y'all got into the rodeo scene and really started to blow up.
Yep.
What was there like a jump that you really had to like contemplate and
No,
take a leap?
And if you're, well, always, but we always been in the ranch equipment industry, and my grandfather started the business in the 60s with one product and one idea, carried that forward. My dad capitalized on other opportunities. Hey, let's start building gates. So we'll start building panels. We'll do corrals. Let's do all these other products. And then you just start, it's stepping stones, building into, and then the opportunities that you have customers that are asking for certain things. So you bet, let's get into that. And then it just grows from there. Getting into the rodeo side of the business, we'd always been in the ranch equipment, squeeze chutes, head gates, corral panels, making corrals. Back in the early 90s, my first cousin, my uncle was actually the sales manager. My uncle was my dad's brother-in-law. My first cousin, we were in high school. He started the team rope. This is in the early 90s, late 80s. This is when team roping just barely getting started, especially in East Texas. It might have been going other places, but in East Texas. And my cousin started roping, and my dad got out there and watched them run the alleyway in the chute. They just had an old Priefert headgate using for a rope and chute. My dad said, you know what? I believe we could build a rope and chute like that. What do they use out there? So they start looking. Back then, every rodeo arena had a chute. And usually they were big monsters that somebody set up on top of in a seat, and they pushed the handle forward and brought it back, and they could run the tailgate and people pushing up. So it wasn't overly efficient, but that's just the way it was all done.
Yeah.
So that's the basic idea they had. So we built a rope and chute that you set up on top of in a seat, and you pulled a handle back, and then you hit a lever that opened under pressure, and then we built that for years. And then the early 90s started coming along, and we were building the rope and chutes, but really weren't in the roping organizations, I guess, or the rodeo arenas, because we didn't do the bucket chute. We just built a rope and chute just for the backyard guy,
Right.
and selling corral panels for arenas. So we were selling arenas and a rope and chute. And then I don't know what really changed. I'm gonna say Denny Gentry and Connie got to doing the USTRC. And it wasn't but just a few years old at it. We didn't even know Denny Gentry and Connie at that time. And my uncle did, and there was team ropings going on, and the US finals, USTRC started. And my uncle, we had a rope and chute sitting right here, out here. I didn't rope, my brothers roped, my uncle did. And we're out there one day, and I'm running the chutes. I always ran the chute in the alleyway because nobody let me on a horse. So I'd get on the chute. So I started operating it and working. I said, you know what? I started just asking questions. I'm like, well, why do we do it this way? Why do we do it this way? And my uncle said, well, why don't we get up in the shop and you design another chute? So I got up there with some of the fab guys, and I was 20, maybe 19, 20. This is 35 years ago. I don't even know how old I am. 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And we designed basically pretty close to what we build today. We can stand on the side. One guy can operate, pull a lever back, close the headgate. You can stand there and sit there and watch. You don't have to sit on top. You can stand beside it and hit the switch. Make a tailgate that's easy to operate. And just started there, and built two, and had them sitting in the shop. And my uncle called Denny Gentry, and Denny Gentry came over, and I think he might have been in Oklahoma City, or he was in Dallas, or he might have been going to Abilene. I don't remember where all was going on. And Denny walked in, and he looked at that chute, and he goes, this is a rocket ship compared to anything that's out there right now. He said, I want two of them for the U.S. finals in Abilene. And that was like in a month. I only had one built. I think I had one built right then. Hadn't even been used real well. He said, I need two of them over there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I jump in the shop, and I built 6 of them, because I didn't know because he had 2 pins going. And we built 6 of them and took 6 of them over there just in case one broke down. We could change one out because it hadn't even been used. And we took 6 chutes over to Abilene for the U.S. finals, and I think that was in 1994, maybe 95, something like that. And from that point on, Denny Gentry, we have been partners with Denny Gentry in the roping world, and listen to him. You listen to his team, all the producers, all those guys, and just start making the chutes better, easier to operate, make the lead ups. And we just started adding all those different product lines in the roping world, and started getting a name in the roping world. And then in 2005 or whatever, Mike White and Chris Shivers were buddies of mine. They were in the PBR. They were some of the top bull riders. Those two and Adriano Moraes. This is back in the 90s. Or not 90s, early 2000s. And they were buddies of mine. And they'd come over and they'd rope with my brothers or whatever. I'd see them in Mount Pleasant, or I'd see them at wherever. And we weren't building bucket chutes. And Mike White kept saying, Priefert, you got to start building bucket chutes. And I'm like, Mike, how many bucket chutes can you sell? Maybe 15 a year? I mean, at the most. I mean,
Right.
What can we do? He goes, oh, no, y'all have to build. You have to start building bucket chutes. If you start building bucket chutes, I bet we could get them in the PBR, and I'd help you do it, all this and that. And I said, I just put him off. I put him off for a year, whatever. And it rocked on there for a little bit. Well, then just part of the overall business and the way our businesses worked, you start going to all these municipalities and all these different places, like Fort Worth and Abilene and all these places that they're doing team ropings, but they need 4,000 stalls or 1,000 stalls, 1,200 stalls. They need the stalls, they need the fencing, they need the arenas, everything else. Well, we were doing all these bids on these big jobs that were everywhere, but I kept losing them out because I had the whole package and everybody liked our quality, but I didn't build the bucking chutes, and they wanted the whole package. They would end up going to my competitor. And I'm like, you know what? Selling 15 bucking chutes won't be too bad if I can get all of the whole package type deal put together. So we got out there, and somebody said something. One of my competitors said something ugly to me one time, a little negative, and it just kind of
that was the fire you did.
put a little bit of fire in me. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back. So I got Chris and Mike and Cody Lambert and those guys to give me pointers, and some guys at the PBR of what all they wanted to see in a bucking chute, and we built them based on exactly what they believed they needed to be for the PBR. And we brought Randy Bernard. This is 2004, 2005. I can't remember exactly. We brought Randy Bernard and Sean Gleason to the plant, and they took a plant tour. They got to meet our people, see everything, how we operate, what we do, and everything else, and showed them the bucking chutes. I only had one bucking chute built. And they said, man, this is just amazing. We got to have this. Can we have these for the PBR finals in October? This was July. I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, let's do it. And I hadn't even built one bucking chute. I hadn't used it 10 times over at Mike White's house. And so we built a set of bucket chutes. We took them, the first set of bucket chutes, to Chris Shivers' PBR bull riding in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and went down there and set them up and used them for the first time for that event. And then came back and then built for the PBR finals. And it goes from there. So, you know, it's just opportunity on top of opportunity. Somebody sees a need and just gamble. And that's what got us started in the rodeo business. It wasn't 2 years after the PBR finals and everything working just fantastically, everything working better, more efficiently, safer for the cowboys, safer for the bulls. The bulls started getting more expensive, and everybody started demanding using Priefert shoes because they were safer and better. And the cowboys started demanding them because they were safer. And the producers started demanding them because they could unload them and set them up quicker and faster.
Yeah.
And we had built the perfect package, and it wasn't long. We just took the whole industry by storm at that point.
Yeah.
So that's how it all worked.
That's cool, man. I'm curious to know, what was it that your competitor said
Oh,
lit the fire?
I walked into one of my competitors' booths and said hello and talked and visited, and then somebody smarted off, said, hey, Priefert, you keep handling that lightweight stuff. We'll take care of the heavy stuff. And then I walked out and said, okay. So that's all I needed right there. I went to building bucket chutes.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So there was a need for the roping chute, clearly a superior product when y'all came out with it. Was there a flaw with the bucking chutes, though?
Yeah, well, yeah.
At the time.
We found a few little flaws. Yeah, the first ones that I built was actually the gates were actually, that's the only thing I can think of offhand right now. I'm sure there was a few things because we're always changing them. But the first ones, and I won't ever forget this because Adriana Moraes was on the bull in the PBR finals for the first time. And the side gates, we made them out of, instead of a piece of tubing with a piece of sheet metal welded between it to make the rails, we used square tubing. So it was like 6 inch wide, 1.5 inch wide, 6 inch tall square tubing, and laid them on edge and used those as the gates so that everything just didn't flex, nothing moved, everything else. And I won't ever forget, one of those bulls stuck his head inside, went sideways, and that horn went in between. And it wedged, that taper on that horn wedged in that square tubing between the two deals. And there was so much, he couldn't get his head. And they sit there and worked on that bull's head for longer than I wanted, maybe 2 minutes. But it was a long time, and you're in the PBR final. And it wedged in there. So I came back home and I changed it to oval tubing. That way there was less pressure and less surface area there, so that when horse gets wedged in, he could get it pulled back out.
Yeah.
But that square tubing just made a perfect wedge. I mean, it's stuck in there pretty good. That was one thing that we ended up changing, but you just don't know till you start using it. Yeah. Just little things like that.
One of the quotes I saw on y'all's website, I'm curious to know where this came from. It says Priefert products is tough enough for cattle, but safe enough for horses.
Yes, it is. That's well, that's one of the things that we tout. Yeah,
That's a
'cause
beautiful statement. Like, where
yeah,
did that come
'cause
from?
I think my dad said it because he always said, he said, we got to make all of this stuff as safe as absolute possible, because, and that goes with everything, because it's not just that $100,000 horse that's somebody's pet, because anymore, horses aren't livestock anymore. They're everybody's pets. So you got to be taking care of these horses, but it's got to be safe enough that a 13-year-old little girl's not going to get hurt, because they're out there using it every day.
Yeah.
And it's got to be operationally friendly for a 13-year-old little girl. So everything that we build, a 13-year-old girl can operate nearly everything. When I say that, just a woman or whatever, but everything, that mindset. But everything has to be built absolutely safe, because when you hurt a cow, you've just got a hamburger. When you hurt a horse, you've just lost a family friend. So you got to be absolutely, and when you tout, hey, this is horse safe, that's a bold, big statement, right?
Yeah.
Because a horse is looking for a place to just die at any time, all the time, to get hung up in something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
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 I saw like a meme the other day. It said, I'm gonna probably butcher it, that like used to, everybody had horses and only the rich had cars. Nowadays, everybody has cars and only the rich have horses.
That's it. That's a good one. I hadn't thought about that, but you're exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, only the rich can afford them
I
anymore.
know it, man.
I'm telling you.
Which is a good thing. I'm
Absolutely.
glad to see it.
It's great for our industry. Now, it really sucks for me having to keep my boys with horses and the good team roping horses, because the market's going crazy, but really good for the business, because everybody's really demanding good, safe, high quality equipment for their horses, because these horses are getting so expensive. You got to take good care of them.
Yeah.
It goes for feed, and it goes for their feed and their medications and everything you put on them.
Well, across the board, I feel like everything's just leveling up, and that's why you see the horsepower is getting better, the care is getting better.
Absolutely.
That's something that fascinates me, and I ask most every horse trainer I sit down with, like, what's next in the evolution of horses.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Um,
That's a really good question.
Going back to your grandfather, he started this thing in 1964. I found it interesting that he was savvy enough to put, I'd love to see a photo of this thing, the cart or whatever he built on that Mustang. Was it his brother?
You heard that story? Yeah.
That he like put the demo on for him to go out and sell that thing.
Yeah, it all come down. I mean, my grandfather and his brother, they were Depression era kids, right? So they did not spend money at all on nothing whatsoever. And fuel was too expensive. He didn't want to pick up and lay it down in the back. So my grandfather started, pick up, it cost too much to fill up. So my granddad went out and bought his brother a 66 Mustang with a V6 motor to get as good gas mileage as possible. And he was the first sales rep. And they're like, oh, well, how we're going to save in fuel because we got this little car. And he just took the bumper off and welded that head gate right to the frame. And that way he could just pull up into anybody's yard and just operate it right there from the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wish we had a picture too. I have never seen a picture.
Oh, really?
Look for pictures. We can't find them. We have not found a picture yet.
So this may be naive. What did folks use before that time to work cattle? Were there other chutes
there was
out
already
there?
head gates. There was head gates out there. They were just, my grandfather just came up with an idea. He just had an efficient mind. Like, hey, how you gonna? His idea was he could build that head gate. Everybody else's head gate in the 1960s was $200. He built one that he could sell for $60, and it operated better and faster and cheaper. And his idea was, and he went out and there was head gates out there, and he went and looked at a couple of head gates, used a couple of head gates, but they were like guillotine head gates that closed down like this.
They
had a gate in the front of them, and they get choked down, but at the same time, to let them out, you had to let the cow out, back her up, close the guillotine, and then open the whole front of it by undoing a couple of pins and pulling it around and let the cow walk out, and then you put it all back together.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, you know what? What if I built a head gate that I can open up, catch it by the head, and then when I opened it directly up, she walked out and I catch the next one right off her hip, and it opened up, and that's what he built. Well, it was so efficient and it worked so well with a simple idea, right? It's just it's just a very simple idea.
Yeah, hindsight. You look at
hindsight,
it, you're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah, and
Why
it took
wouldn't you
him
do
a
it
lot
that way?
to figure out, how to open it up but come in and out, because he didn't want the swinging door head gate like a lot of our competitors built. Because that's one of the first things he saw somebody else. He said, oh, I can build one better than that, and that's pretty cool how it catches themselves. But he went out there and he didn't pre-sort the herd, and he's running a cow and a calf and a bull. And he's out there, and the first thing he did, he had everything set up, and the cow walked in, caught her perfectly. The calf was too loose, so he had to adjust it to go in and out, and then it come in and nearly broke a bull's neck. So he's like, you know what? First time I sell this thing, somebody's going to come hang this thing around my neck. I got to figure out a better way. So he did it and figured out just by pulling and lifting one handle, the whole thing opened up and closed, and it locked into place no matter how wide the neck was, no matter what, and you didn't have to pre-sort your herd. So you could run your entire herd through, not pre-sort them, and catch every one of them very efficiently and doctor them right there in the alleyway. So that's what he come up with. He patented the idea. He basically started selling through veterinarians. So local vet in town, he took the head gate down there and showed it to them. Said, hey, that's pretty handy right there. And my granddad said, well, why don't you sell them for me? Because everybody that you go do vet work, that was when vets traveled. Nobody brought their animals to them. They traveled out, and they'd work all day on a herd of animals, and then they'd go home at night. So he would take the head gates with him, that veterinarian would, and he'd show up at Joe Bob's house ready to work cows and say, hey, Joe Bob, I need you to hang this gate on this alleyway, this head gate, because I'm tired of getting kicked and hurt and everything else, and I'll bill you when I bill you for all the vaccination work that I'm going to do. And the vet started selling all the head gates, and then it just another vet, and then it went to the co-ops, and then it went to dealers. So that's kind of the way it started. But he started selling through the veterinarians.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Another quote that I saw, I don't know where I saw this. I may have heard you mention this in another interview, but I found it fascinating. You say, we are who we are because they were who they were.
Yeah, I think I don't think I ever made that up, but basically, it's pretty good saying. I believe my dad said that, but you're only anything that I've done today myself, I can't take credit for, because I'm basically standing on the shoulders of my grandfather and my father. I'm just carrying on their legacy, and I'm only who I am because they were who they were,
right?
And they taught me.
My question is this: so there's a lot of truth in that quote, but how do you like maintain the tradition that those guys built, but also be very forward thinking and progressive?
Oh, you just got to be yourself. As long as you're, in my mind, as long as I am doing everything I can for everyone else, and then keep the legacies going on. But everybody's got to change. You can't, if you get too stuck in the way everybody else did it, you'll fall behind. So you got to do it your own way with what's going on new today, because things just change so fast. But at the same time, you just got to have the old school, and not old school. I mean, it's just biblical. You just got to treat everybody right at all times, and do right by everyone first, and keep everyone else in mind before, and yourself last. Usually everything works out for the best all the time. You just got to make the right decision for the right reasons at the right times. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard Tony Robbins say that if you find yourself mentally like suffering, it's because you're too focused on yourself.
Yes. Well, that's exactly, that's very good. Yep. Yeah. And you just can't. I mean, I grew up, and my dad always taught me, see, these folks out here in the plant don't work for you, son. You work for them. And as long as you keep supporting them and you help them do and make their work and their jobs easier, everything will work out. But you work for them, they don't work for you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. So it's just kind of the mindset.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I was just thinking too, there's another saying that says the best way to be successful is to do it just how your grandfather did it, and the fastest way to fail is to do it just how your grandfather did it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you get,
it's like finding the balance of
it is. It is. And if you think too much about it, you're gonna be too late. So you just gotta do it right, and go at it the right way. That's
what I found fascinating as I looked, doing the research on this. I look at the timeline. It just seemed like one thing after another. It was y'all started with into the rodeo scene, then you got into Priefert Logistics, trucking company, then you got into Priefert Complex Designs, then you're into the hunting space. Now you're into steel sales. It's like you don't hesitate. I envy that, because I question a lot. Like, oh no, is this the right move? Oh no.
Well, and you got to question it. And yeah, I mean, at all times, I'll question everything. But I don't.
But you move fast.
I try. I try to. Sometimes I move too slow. And there are some opportunities out there that we should have capitalized on quicker, but you're not real sure about. But yeah, just everything. It's a lot of prayer.
Yeah.
A lot of prayer. And surrounding yourself with good people and getting really good counsel with the right people is, I mean, because I don't make decisions by myself. I'll run it past 10, 15 people, get all their ideas and their thoughts and everything else, start feeling a little better about it, and getting really good counsel from really good people is probably first and foremost.
Who's at the head of that council?
Oh, I got guys here at the plant that have been with me 25 and 30 years, and they're vice president of sales and vice president of steel sales. You got Chip Tully, you got Rocky Christenberry. They're both top guys. I always have my dad. Your banker and your lawyer is one of the best people that you can ever run anything past, because my dad always taught me. He said you never lie to your doctor, you never lie to your banker, and you never lie to your lawyer, because all three of them will get you hurt. and are killed. So those are the three people you never lie to, and you run things past those guys. You just got smart people that are, everybody's got them. You got really good, smart, honest people that you just run things past people and just see what their thoughts are, what they're thinking is, and you actually learn more. And you figure out a different point of view and go, you know what, you're right. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it that way. That's a good idea.
Right.
You just start building on it and go.
That's so cool, man.
Yep.
We're talking about all the highlights and all the successes that Priefert has had, but I'm sure that doesn't come with any roadblocks or stumbles. I'm always curious to know what, if any, if you have like a favorite failure. And that sounds like a weird question, but is there something
that's a really good question
that something like looking back, you had to go through that thing, you may not have understood it at the time?
I'll logistics. So we started doing logistics years ago. You know what? We can manage and operate our own fleet of trucks a whole lot cheaper than anybody else can. So we'll go out and we'll buy our own trucks, and we'll put in our own brokerage, and we'll put all that together. That was all at one time period in all of it. But then you start figuring out the real market and all of that. And there's too many people out there in the logistics world that's willing to do it for nothing, that you can't compete, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody makes a lot. There's not unless you are absolutely huge with thousands of trucks and volume, and get that economies of scale out there and willing to live with a pretty low margin. That's only if you don't fail too many times with too many lawsuits and too many losses and too many things like that. But at the sizes that we were, it was at the point we need to either double and triple the size of the fleet to make any money, or just get out of it.
Yeah.
And we're just like, you know what? We got too many other things to do. Let's manufacture. Let's not run a logistics company. So you had to live through that 5 to 7 years of those type things to figure out, you know what? It's time to get out. Let's cut our losses and move on. Let's do something else. Because a lot of people are just, my grandfather was this way. He was absolutely too stubborn to give up on some things. He might work 3 years too long on something trying to get it figured out, and spend too much time and waste too much time, and he could have moved on to the next thing and done something else that would have capitalized and made money faster. But sometimes you just got to be not too bullheaded to understand, you know what, it's time to quit this and something else. But a lot of people feel like they're failures if they quit or give up.
Yeah.
At the same time, everybody's got to get used to a little bit of failure and know when to cut their losses and move on to something else that's going to pay off.
Yeah, man, I know the feeling, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's that same trait or characteristic.
Well, you don't want to be a quitter. You never want to quit something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? Like, when were you like, okay, yeah, we're
on logistics? Yeah. I was not able to focus on new products, sales, managing the company, the operations, all those things, because I was dealing with more lawsuits from lawyers than I was anything else. I mean, it was once a week we were getting more I mean, just everybody in this nation's so sue happy anyway.
Yeah.
And these lawyers are running rampant that you couldn't operate I said, it's time to get out of this. Let's go. We got to get out, because I am wasting. There is no joy in working on lawsuits. Let's get out of this whole deal. Either I hire a lawyer and spend more money, or just get out of it altogether and figure out a different way.
And I got to think, like, what let you know that you made the right decision was like a weight lifted off your shoulders. You did it.
Oh, life got happy.
Yeah.
Life, joy. Yeah, there's a lot more joy in my work and my life after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Oh, that's
For
good
sure.
stuff, man.
I guess so. I don't know. It's just, to me, you're asking all these questions. I got to think about them a little bit because I'm in it every day, so I don't
Well, I
don't
know,
think
and
that much about it.
that's something that I wanted to know about. Has it ever sank in? And it hit me one time. So, I'm in real estate, and I'm a real estate investor, and I don't know, it was probably 10 years ago or so. I kind of started snowballing, and I was buying a bunch.
Yeah, good.
And
Perfect.
a friend of mine said, "Man, it's awesome what you're doing. Like, have you ever stopped to look and reflect on how you've grown?" And I hadn't. I
Yeah.
was just in it and doing it,
Yep.
and it, in that moment, I did take a step back. And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I'm doing the thing."
Yeah.
And so, has that sank in for you?
No.
As far as like how much impact you guys have across the Western industry?
No, I guess not, because we're I don't know if you call it a negative personality, pessimistic, what it is, but we hadn't even got started yet. I'm a little bit disappointed at times we're not growing faster. So,
Right.
but you can only do what you can do, and then a lot of times you look up and you're working on things for 2 and 3 and 4 years and building some buildings, and you're adding things to it. And a lot of people from the outside world can see it easier than I can because I'm in the middle of it every day. And a lot of times it just seems too slow, and everything's not everything comes on your timeline.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to learn where you're at and everything else. But a lot of times you're pushing so hard. It's like, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to get there. And sometimes I'm a little disappointed that we're not bigger and better.
It's the curse of ambition.
Maybe.
But I'm curious to know this though, like, what is the goal?
What? Oh, the goal. You got to do it.
Because you're saying you want more, you want
Yes.
not fast enough. I
Yeah,
totally get
and
it.
when I say all that, I'm building capacities. We're opening up new accounts across the nation in ranch equipment. There's a lot of things that we've invested in, which is borrowed money. You borrow money up and you use that, and you're paying bankers back, and you're paying all this stuff back all the time. But there's a lot of different things that we could do. I mean, just keep expanding and keep adding and keep doing, and then putting in more locations across the nation. I want to do that one day, sometime in my life. Put in more tube mills, operate more steel services in that side. So there's just huge amount of opportunity, especially right now with the way the United States is going. They're becoming more dependent on themselves. I know everybody hates the tariffs and all the different things, but that's just like ripping a Band-Aid. When you live a certain way for 50 years, it's going to hurt for the short term when you rip that Band-Aid off. And then the way everything's going, and the manufacturing moving back in the United States and the American people are becoming more dependent on themselves. The workforce gets back involved, gets things rolling. It takes years to get to that point, but those are just opportunities that I can see that we just need to capitalize on, because we're already in the catbird seat when it comes down to manufacturing. We just need to be able to expand and go faster. So there's just opportunities there, and not everything happens on your own timeline. So you just got to be patient and see how it goes.
Yeah, persistently patient.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this OK Steel brand sign
Yeah.
on the fence.
Yeah, good partners of ours.
Miss Kathleen Moore up in, that's Kathleen Moore, right? And
yes. Yeah, the Moore family. Yeah.
Ardmore, Oklahoma?
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah, and so they ride cutting horses with James Payne. I'm curious to know the steel sales that you guys do and the steel that they're doing. Is that competitor? Is that
No, they're a good partner. So they do their own, their own wire, all the wires and everything else. So that's same market, sell to the same people. Those are different products that they're involved in that we're not. So we're more in the manufactured welded products. Though they're in the wires and those things. But they're good. I call them good partners because we sell to the same folks. Both of us, they're probably bigger than we are when it comes down to the manufacturing and what their sales is. And so, and they sell to the farm stores and those dealers across the nation. So a lot of times we bounce ideas back and forth, even partner up on some of those things and go into things and make sure that we're in the same locations. Who are you selling to? What do you think about this family that sells this family that owns these stores? And what about these stores? And what about these folks? And kind of start piggybacking off each other and learning from each other.
Yeah.
So we talk to them pretty regular.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Man, I'm curious to know about some of the marketing, the brand itself, Priefert, the way it was drawn up. I'm sure that was your marketing team. Or was that-
marketing team. My grandfather's brother did the first logos. He was an artist. He just started drawing logos one time, did some logos, and then we were really bad. I bet we changed. There was times there back in the 90s when I was younger, and I was out in the plant. I wasn't in management and all that. My dad, about every 2 years, he's changing the logo. And I'm like, Coca-Cola don't change their logo. Ford doesn't change the logo. That's one thing that you get into. And then every once in a while, hey, we need to change the logo. Let's do it this way. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to leave the logo alone. So we got that Priefert, the Priefert logo you see today.
It's a staple now. Yeah.
And it's a staple. And I'm like, this is our brand, right? You do not change your logo. You find where you're happy and you live with it.
Yeah.
And if it's the way it is, don't change the font. Don't change the logo. Keep it on. Now, I don't care if there's a tagline. We can change the tagline underneath, but that Priefert logo stays a staple, and it needs to stay that way forever.
Yeah.
And never change it again. But that was one thing. I mean, we fell into that. Somebody drew it up one day. Hey, that's a great logo. Looks good. Right color.
Boom, done.
Go.
Speaking of the color, how did y'all land on that blue?
Blue.
That
I think
iconic.
it was the cheapest paint.
Is that
Now,
right?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
it's very recognizable. You go at 90% of roping arenas,
my-
you're going to see that blue
Yeah,
chute.
my dad, after he got done with college, he came home. My grandfather was painting them aluminum. They were aluminum silver, the aluminum paint, and he was painting the head gates aluminum and silver. And then Dad had some marketing class in college one time, and it said, men that buy and purchase are attracted to, they call them tractor colors, the greens, the oranges, the blues, those things, bright colors. That's what a man attracts to. Women like the earth tones and everything else. And he had that class, and he just come back from college one time and said, hey, Dad, I believe we need to start painting head gates a different color. He said, well, son, what's your favorite color? He said, well, I like blue. He said, well, go figure out what color that, go mix some paint up, and let's start painting them a blue color. So Dad gets out there and start mixing paints and puts it all together and comes up with this blue, takes it up to the store, and they said, oh, yeah, that's a good color. He said, you can buy that color almost, that's Ford blue. So ends up being Ford blue, and that's just what they started using with the Ford blue color.
That's
for
cool.
head gates and squeeze chutes, just because my dad liked the color.
Yeah.
And he was in his, he'd been 22, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's what they started using, and you just never changed it over time.
Yeah.
And then, like today, you'll see a lot of different things, though. When it comes down to fencing, fencing's always, the fencing and the estate fencing, the Ponderosa fence, the top fences that are going around, everything's going to be in an earth tone color. Gates, we were kind of the ones in the industry. We started painting gates earth tone colors, browns, forest greens, gray, black, because figured out early on a lady with a $300,000 house doesn't want an orange gate next to her house. So we build all the gates, all the fencing, all the stalls, all corrals, all the panels and all that are all earth tone, because the ladies are making most of the decisions on what that's going to look like.
Savvy move. Who figured that
Oh,
out?
I think my dad, and marketing and sales teams, all that stuff. And then when it comes down to it, the rope and chutes and the squeeze chutes and all that, they're more the tractor colors. Because the guys are making most of the decisions on those top products.
I see some black chutes now. What's in
That
those and
was
the
a
blue chutes?
mistake on my part. I let marketing talk me into doing a black chute
Okay.
just because Trevor Brazil wanted a black chute. I give him a hard time still. Trevor Brazil wanted, but he don't want a blue chute by his house, right? Now everybody wants Trevor Brazil chute because I painted it black, and that's a pain in my butt.
Dude, you just mark it up. Give them what they want, mark
You
it
would
up.
think, yeah, but they're like, oh, how much more paint black paint don't cost any more than blue. I'm like, you're right. I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I just make everybody happy and paint them black.
So the blacks are no
I
longer
give
available?
Sarah a hard time because she comes in once a week. Hey, can we get another black chute? I'm like, fine. I don't care.
Special order.
Yeah, painting the butt. We shut down production for a week just painting one black chute.
No kidding.
No. That's what I say.
Well, another iconic color is yellow.
Yeah, yellow.
Right.
Yeah, so
Curious to know.
when it comes down to the rodeos and everything else, when it comes down to rodeos, I don't mind painting them custom colors at all, because every rodeo out there has their colors. They're identified with those colors. They've got 100 years of history using a certain color, and I'm not going to change that on them just because I'm arrogant enough to say I just know it's only blue. Now, I'll paint them if they want them white and red and they want them brown or whatever color they want. They need to be happy with that. And plus, that customer, when they're buying those arenas, you're looking at a $200,000 investment, right? So I'm not going to be too chintzy on color to figure it out.
I was specifically talking about the NFR.
Yep.
Those yellow
Yep,
ones
the
there.
yellow
Were they
chutes,
yellow
yep.
before y'all started?
Oh
doing it?
yeah, they've been
They
yellow.
were.
They've been yellow since NFR started.
Okay.
Yep. So that's their colors, and that's what they wanted. So
I got
I'm not gonna. Yep. Whatever color they want.
Describe that feeling.
NFR.
Yeah,
Oh,
going out there, y'all setting that your crew setting those panels.
I
up
don't know
and
that I can
bucking
explain it.
chutes
That's
and-
just one of those things. It's absolute. I would have never, my whole life growing up as a kid, I'd have never even dreamed that we would be a part of the National Final Rodeo and become such good partners with PRCA and Las Vegas events and that whole group. I'd have never dreamed as a kid that I'd be involved with that and helping in the small way that we are. I would have never dreamed it at all. And just to be a part of it all is just an absolute honor. And that's a dream. I mean, it's like you wake up when you're in Vegas and you're setting up, which when it comes down to Vegas and it's one of those things where we're there to support. We don't spend a lot of cash in Vegas on the sponsorship, but we have 22 truckloads of equipment out there just to support the rodeo every single year. So last year was 22 truckloads of equipment and the people and the personnel and the freight to get it all out there, get it
How many
unloaded.
people does it take to?
Oh, I
set
bet we
that up?
have. Sarah might have to help me, but I bet we end up sending 20 to 21 people out there just ourselves. And then each one of those facilities that we're setting up with, whether it's at the South Point, whether it's at the Thomas and Mack or at Horseman's Park, all those places that we're at, they have their own personnel, but we have a lead man or lead gal or somebody there, up to 2 to 5 people, pointing and giving everybody the right ideas and helping the truck drivers, because a lot of them are our truck drivers that are bringing in there. Those truck drivers help unload, they help set up, and then they come back home, grab another load, and head back out.
Do y'all use the same equipment at the NFR every year? Do y'all just
Yeah, we
bring
do it
back?
for a 3-year time period. So the bucking chutes, I think it's every 3 years we trade them out to brand new.
Okay.
Uh,
And then what do y'all do with the old ones?
we'll bring them back and tear them down, repaint them, resell them.
Sell them.
Yep. Because they're still good shoots. They don't get used that much, even in 3-year time period, and it's a 10-day rodeo. When it comes right down to it, they're getting used pretty limited. So they're still pretty brand new shoots. We just bring them back, and they've been stored at the South Point Casino at Michael Gahn, and those guys, they help us, and we store them out at South Point, keep them there. And then a lot of that equipment we'll leave out there, and then we help them with equipment also there. So
Yeah.
they're good partners of ours.
Yeah. Those,
And a good family. We got to know them real well.
Yeah. I've only been around the Gawns just a little bit, but they seem like great people.
They are.
And you can be in South Point and forget where you are for days.
Days, yes. And if you don't walk outside, you won't see sunlight. I mean, it's
a
you
cool
can get
place to
lost.
be.
Oh, absolutely. I can stay. That's where I stay. And we've got a lot of good friends. They're almost like family. We go out there. It's like
That's
family
so
reunion
cool.
every year. And get out there. And we love being at the South Point. Love just being in that whole atmosphere.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's good stuff.
So are you roping now?
No, I don't
You
rope.
still don't rope.
Never have.
Never have.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that. Yes, I've done it a little bit. I've got.
But like you're not going to partake
I
in this
don't.
weekend?
No, I don't want to. You can't be cocaine dealers don't use their own product either. They can't make any money. So it'd be one of those things. I'd be spending too much money. I wouldn't make any profit on selling it.
Oh, that's good stuff, man.
I never did. Growing up as a kid, we were always riding and hanging out. But I've never had a whole lot of I mean, I shouldn't be saying this, right? Because somebody will be looking negative at me. But I've never had just a whole lot of patience for horses. My brothers did. My brothers were always good at horseback, and they'd take the time and they'd be teaching on one and everything else. But me, I was just like, no, let's just crank the motor and go.
Yeah.
And then come back, turn it off, and go do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've just never had the passion for it all. Now my boys do. I got 4 boys, and they would live horseback. If they could, yeah. And they rope, and they've been roping since they're 6 and 10 years old, and I got 4 boys and a girl. And they all like to ride, and they all like to rope. And
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, you either have it or you don't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
remember when I was a kid, all I wanted was a horse. And
Yeah,
thank God I didn't get it when I was a kid because my family they weren't horse people.
Yeah.
And I would have got hurt or it probably ruined me on it, but now I can't get enough of it.
I don't ever remember not having a horse.
Really?
But all the horses I had were the ones that either kick you in the knee or bite you on the shoulder. And so I learned at an early age, do not trust a horse.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm teasing for the most part because I own 16. We have about 16 horses just on our place here that the boys ride, and then some colts, and they're riding some colts and training some colts up, have all the equipment, have all the cattle, have all the horse trailers, everything else. But I'm just the guy that takes them, drops them off. So let's go rope.
Yeah.
Let's go. And I'm the guy running the chute.
There you go. You
Yep.
gotta have one of those guys,
Yeah.
man.
But I get asked real frequently, hey, let's go rope. Priefert. I'm like, I don't rope. And you got, with the last name like Priefert, you don't rope. And I'm like, nope, I don't. And I get
Yeah.
made fun of a lot because I don't rope.
Oh,
I
man,
don't.
that's funny. Man, it's a random question, but at the NFR, are they running an automatic chute or is it a
No,
manual?
it's manual chute.
It's manual.
Yes, all rodeos, all events, even these events here, we recommend always just use a manual chute, but one person,
One
can
less
do it
variable.
all day. One less variable, everything just right, and then nobody can really have an excuse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, the remote failed, or I didn't call for it, and you hit the button anyway. You hear that a lot, but no, we recommend everything's used manual chute. The NFR is a manual chute.
Man, going back to like the innovation and evolution of Priefert, I know there's going to be something next that you're probably already working on.
Oh, we've got
Can you-
we
Can you
we'll-
speak to what's next?
Well, right now we've got, see this arena out here right now. We've got a new fencing, a state fence product. It's a 6-inch post, spin form top, and the rails go through it. It's all swedged together rails, and we're making a 5 rail.
Oh, it's like a Ponderosa.
It is,
with
but it's
metal.
all steel, and these are 5 rail. I'm making arenas out of them. So all these arenas out here are used all this product. So it's a permanent fence instead of a portable panel. It's all permanent. It's all galvanized. It's all powder coated. And then all the gates and the bow gates and everything in them are all slam latches. There's slam latch behind you. So it's a really nice setup. So this is a new product line. We just got this rope and pin put up a month ago.
Oh,
Out of the
that's
new
cool.
product line.
It looks sharp too, man.
It does. It looks really good. And then we've always got 10, 15, 20 products a year that we'll pull out.
Really?
Small to big to whatever. But yes, we've got some new products. We got some new squeeze chutes that we're developing right now. Working on the roper chutes, making them better. I got some ideas on how to make them better. I've got some ideas just in the stalls. We've got a new stall that we just produced and put out there for the expo stalls. If you go to Fort Worth, you'll see the new expo stalls at Fort Worth. I think we just put in 4,000 stalls over in Fort Worth.
No kidding.
Yep, at the Coliseum.
At Will Rogers.
At Will Rogers, yes. And so that's the new stall. Let's see what else. A few little other products, some deer feeding products, some feeder products. And then
What do you have, Eddie? Is it just like this team of engineers? I'm just picturing like this room of creative designers. Just
now it's me and my brothers.
no kid. You are the
Yeah, we design them. Yeah. Now we get the ideas. None of us, and my brother Nate is, but none of us are one of the types that usually everything stems from the new product design. I'm going to say this, and I don't know that this is exactly true, but it sounds good. But I think we are the only ranch equipment company that owns a working ranch. I think. I don't know that for a fact. I know our competitors have employees that own ranches, but we are the only one that own the ranch equipment company and have a working ranch. So we've got 600-700 cows on the place, 20 to 30 something horses on the place. So everything gets used. So we're always out there and we go,
Testing
hey,
and
you know
trying
what?
stuff.
This would be a good thing. We need to build this for ourselves, and we'll go out there and build something
Yeah.
and use it. And then usually somebody sees it and goes, well, everybody out there needs that same thing, Priefert. Why don't you build them at the plant? Well, that's probably a good idea. You're right. And then so we're using everything every day. Not every day. We're using everything regular. So we're learning from our mistakes. We're teaching ourselves what should be better. And then you go up to the plant and you start designing it. So you start dreaming stuff up because you've used something that just ain't working right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go up there and say, to an AutoCAD draftsman, hey, I need to do this, 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 and this. And they might draw it up, or you might just go out there to Ken Brown, who's our fab guy that's worked for us for 40 years. I go out there with Ken and say, hey, Ken, let's build this right quick. And here's my idea, and this is my thought. And I might sit out there with him, and we might build it real quick, put it all together, and then get it to the draftsman, draw it, and then put it through manufacturing and build it. So it's kind of the way it goes. So you just never know.
That's
how
so
I do it.
cool.
Yep.
We
I do.
my fiance and I just bought some Longhorns.
Yeah.
Is there any like Longhorn head
No.
chutes in the future?
No, the thing I recommend about Longhorns is knock those horns off and just use the equipment that's made.
But then they wouldn't be Longhorns, man.
Yeah,
They wouldn't be the pasture
Yeah.
ornaments.
Yeah,
the
that's
bottom
exactly
part.
right. No, we asked that pretty regular, but the market's just small enough. It's just almost,
It doesn't demand.
we do build some products that a lot of times people are can use them. You know, that different alleyways and the different things and the little sweep systems that you can sweep them up in, push them over and get them closed. But when it comes down to a squeeze chute or something like that, there's just not enough volume in it to design one. Yeah. But the easiest thing is to just knock the horns off.
or buy other cattle other than Longhorns.
Yeah.
Tell me this, man. We're in 2025. AI is a real thing and a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
How are you? I know you are. Without even asking, how are you? Where do you see AI and the automation of what you do at Priefert?
Oh well, AI. I mean, yeah. When it comes down, I know the girls in marketing use AI regularly. You come up with an idea or come up with a thought and type things out, and AI will draw it up.
Crazy, yeah.
A lot of different things that are going on out there in the AI side of the side that it's almost scary. So you gotta. It's like a gun. It's always loaded. All of them are always loaded, whether they are or not.
Yeah.
So you just got to be real careful around it all the time. I'm super careful around it all. And we use it at the plant. I mean, it does get used. I don't myself.
What about like automation in the plant?
There are some things out there. So we've got, I may be overstating that. We've got 40-something robots that are out there in the plant that we operate using robots in a lot of different areas just to make just to make everything a little more efficient. We have robots that are running the brake systems, they're braking parts, and we got robots that are welding. You got robots that are handling materials, moving things back and forth. And I know there's a lot in those side of it, just helping in the programming side,
right?
All kinds of different things, but not anything that I deal with on a daily basis.
Right, but there had to be a time where you signed off on that coming into the plant. Was that a big deal?
Yeah, a little bit, but you know, as long as everybody's careful and uses it appropriately, it's a tool, and it can be used as a good tool. It can be used just like anything. It can be used for evil, or it can be used for good. It just needs to be used for good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
now we got hacked. You know, talking about AI, we got hacked by a Russian mafia company. I don't know. We got hacked. I don't know. Last year, was that last year that we got hacked by the? It wasn't a full year ago, but it nearly shut the entire plant down.
No kidding.
Yes, we lost servers, we lost phone systems, we lost production. It shut, but it wasn't like weeks at a time. We had caught it while it was happening, and we started getting things unplugged. So it only shut us down for a week. It didn't shut us down for months.
Wow, I know. Yeah, although
just computers are just like anything. They're a tool.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful the dependence you get on all of that stuff, because it could come back to haunt you. But I don't know how you operate without using the computer, without robot. Coming soon, how you operate without the AIs. Yeah. Just because everything gets more efficient. Those computers are learning. Everything's going faster and moving faster. And you're getting the information quicker.
Yeah, and if you don't adapt to that, if you don't get on board, you're
going to get passed up.
Lapped.
Yep, that's exactly right. So you got to use everything, but everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Just like alcohol or anything else, everything in moderation.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I've sat down with Kerry Kelley, Randy Bloom.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Kaiser.
Yep.
And
I know all those guys well.
I figured you did.
I do.
And it's all very similar stories.
Yeah.
You know, like the evolution of how things and, just being down at Randy's plant. He gave me a tour, and seeing what that guy's done is just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Randy's a good one. Randy's a great guy. The whole family's great.
Yeah. And I'd love to. I know you said y'all do Priefert tours. I'd love to check that out at some point and just see what the inner workings.
Well, we're gonna go do one here in about an hour. So
right on.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah,
go.
I may tag along. I sure appreciate it.
Love to.
So I know we got to run here, but I'm gonna end this thing with some rapid fire questions.
Oh.
So I'll just ask them in a rapid manner. You feel free to answer them as slow or as fast as you want.
All right.
What is your favorite Western movie?
Oh, that would be Rio Bravo. John
Wayne.
Yep.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
What is there a book that you either gift most to other people or one that you have reread most?
But Lonesome Dove, I've read it twice, watched the movie 5 times, but it's not an educational book.
No, it's a good book though. I'm only this far into it. That much of it.
No, I've read it twice. And then there's a lot of Louis L'Amour books I've read 2 and 3 and 4 times.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite of those?
There's one called Last of the Breed.
Last of the Breed
by Louis L'Amour. I've read it 4 times.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
It's good. Yeah, nothing profound about my book reading. I don't read.
No,
I've spent too many years in college to go read educational books. I've kind of burnt out, so I like the fiction.
That's funny, man. I didn't read any books in college. That may be why I read now.
Yeah, maybe.
Now,
Yeah.
what is the best investment you made in the last 6 months under $100?
Oh, under $100. Wow. My wife buys everything. Got some really good socks the other day. Yeah, I'm making myself sound stupid. I don't remember that. That was under $100. There's got to be
A good
something.
pair of socks is a great investment, man.
It really is.
I can be
A
a
good
sock
pair of
snob.
socks are. Yeah, they're called golden toe socks.
Golden toe. Are they black with the
Yeah,
gold?
black with a
I
gold
don't
toe.
have them on today, but I do wear those.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's under $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else.
I just got a few more here for you. What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
It would be Bugs Bunny and Wile E. Coyote, Looney Tunes.
There you go.
Yeah, every Saturday morning.
Right on.
Yeah.
What scares you most?
I don't get scared. Yeah, I worry the most about my kids, I guess you'd say. The correct ways of what they need to do, how they need to do it, and how they need to act. With the opportunities that I have and the opportunities that we're growing into, what kind of human beings am I raising and not spoiling them to the point, but also taking care of them?
Right.
Yeah,
How hard is that?
that's hard. It's real tough.
Because you wanted,
You want to do
Give
all
them
that
everything.
you can for them, but at the same time, you just look at it and go, you know what, you're gonna have to do this on your own. You go figure it out. Now, if you get in a bind, holler at me.
yeah.
But it's time for you to go. You do it.
Yeah. All right, Eddie, last question. If you could put a message on a billboard to get it out to millions of people, metaphorically speaking, what would your message say?
I would encourage everyone to go to church, get to know the Lord. The other one is my dad's favorite saying is be good. Everything in life, as long as you are good, everything is worth. Just be good.
Some of the best advice can be so simple.
Yep. Be good.
I love it. Eddie Priefert, I sure appreciate your time. Time is our most valuable asset, so thank you for sharing it with me and the listeners today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.